This is Lady Alexandra, and in this video, while I show you some dolls in my own collection, I'm going to talk about some of the most famous haunted dolls. Annabelle was given to a girl named Donna in 1970. Donna noticed that she had a tendency to move around the apartment when no one was looking. She was even found with a red substance coming out of her hands one time. Donna's roommate, Lou, awoke one night from a deep sleep and in panic. He had a recurring bad dream, but this time something was different. It was as though he were awake, but he couldn't move. He looked around the room, but couldn't discern anything out of the ordinary, and then it happened. Looking down towards his feet, he saw the doll, Annabelle. It began to slowly glide up his leg, moved over his chest, and then stopped. Within seconds, the doll was strangling him. Paralyzed and gasping for breath, Lou, at the point of asphyxiation, blacked out. Lou woke up the next morning, certain it wasn't a dream. He was determined to rid himself of that doll and the spirit that possessed it. He would have one more terrifying experience with Annabelle. Preparing for a road trip the next day, Lou was reading over maps alone in the apartment. The apartment was eerily quiet. Suddenly, rustling sounds coming from Donna's room aroused fear that somebody had possibly broken into the apartment. Lou quietly made his way to the bedroom door. He waited for the noises to stop before entering and turning on the light. The room was empty except for Annabelle, who was tossed on the floor in the corner. Lou scoured the room for forced entry, but nothing was out of place. But as he got close to the doll, he got the distinct impression that somebody was behind him. Spinning around, he was quick to realize that nobody else was there. Then in a flash, he found himself grabbing for his chest, doubled over, cut and bleeding. His shirt was stained with blood, and opening his shirt, he saw what looked like 7 distinct claw marks on his chest, 3 vertical and 4 horizontal. These scratches healed almost immediately, half gone the next day, fully gone by day 2. Annabelle now is in the Warrens Occult Museum in a locked case that is holy water encrusted. Harold was originally put up for auction in 2003. He is supposedly the first haunted doll ever sold on eBay. The listing Greg wrote made him the subject of websites and news articles around the world. A woman named Kathy won the original auction, and she put the doll back up for sale a year later. Kathy claims that the reason she bid on the doll was not because she believed the stories, but because she wanted to learn doll restoration, and was told that this doll was perfect to learn on. A year later, after having a number of personal experiences, including the deaths of 2 people she knew after they came in contact with Harold, she decided to put the doll back up for sale. The next person who bought Harold had a friend do a reading on him. He recorded the reading. The reading only lasted a minute or 2 when the person had to stop and say that he couldn't do this as the doll had threatened to kill him. Upon listening to the recording of the reading, a male voice can be heard saying, "I'm going to kill you." The owner had several more readings done on Harold and saw people physically hurt in front of his eyes while in Harold's presence. Harold's owner put him in storage in 2005, only taking him out occasionally. In June of 2013, Harold was taken out of storage in order to continue investigating him. So far, 4 psychics have done readings on him, and none of them want anything to do with him afterwards. The next doll is named Pupa. Pupa had the same owner from the 1920s until the owner died in 2005. The original owner said that Pupa was alive and always considered the doll to be a beloved friend and confidant. They would talk to each other, and Pupa had even saved her owner's life on one occasion. When her owner died in 2005, the family reported that the doll had become very active. The display case where Pupa is kept has been reported to fog up, revealing the words, "Pupa hate," on the steamy glass. Pupa is said to move all by herself. She can also move the items around her and make tapping sounds on the glass of her display case. One lucky family member managed to record the doll walking around within her case, but whenever he tried to upload the video to YouTube, the video appeared to be obscured by a thick white film, and the words, "Pupa no," were visible on the film in childish handwriting. The next doll is Amelia. Amelia came from a house that was over 100 years old, and she was discovered during a paranormal investigation. The woman who lived in the house claimed to get woken up every night by a crying baby. She also claims this doll, Amelia, entered her home with blue eyes. She has kept her out of the sun and intense light. She said the happening started the second her doll's eyes turned green. She wanted the doll out of her house and gave her to the paranormal investigator. Joliet is a haunted and cursed doll that is also said to be possessed. According to legend, this doll was passed on from generation to generation of expectant mothers. Each mother was cursed with having 2 children, a boy and girl, respectively. The son isn't expected to live long. Each boy lives to be about 3 days old before succumbing to unknown circumstances. It is said that the doll traps the souls of the boys within its body, wherein they are expected to remain until Judgment Day. Legend has it that it began when a woman received the doll as a pregnancy gift from a friend. This friend despised her for some unknown reason, and it's believed that she placed a curse on the doll out of jealousy. 3 days after her son was born, he was stricken with the malady and died. Sometime after the death of her son, she heard crying that seemed to be emitting from the doll. Upon closer inspection, she concluded that her son's soul was imprisoned within the doll. Since then, those who have inherited the doll treat Joliet as if the doll was their son, never attempting to dispose of it. Robert is a haunted doll that was once owned by Key West painter and author Robert Eugene Otto. The doll is alleged to be cursed. Robert was the inspiration for Chucky, the doll in the 1988 horror film Child's Play. The doll is currently located at the East Martello Museum. Otto was given the doll in 1906 by a Bahamian servant who practiced black magic and voodoo. Otto's parents often heard him talking to the doll. At first, they assumed that Otto was simply answering himself in a changed voice, but later claimed to believe the doll was actually speaking. Neighbors claimed to have seen the doll moving from window to window when the family was out. Otto died in 1974. The doll is annually rotated to the old post office and custom house in October. Strange activity in the museum supposedly increases during these times. Letta, the gypsy doll, is handmade of carved wood and real human hair. She has a horrifying effect on people and animals that come into contact with her. Letta is a real person. Her energy is real. Kerry Walton found Letta while he was searching for antiques under a dilapidated old house. The doll seemed to behave in unnatural ways as soon as it was discovered. The bag containing the doll rustled in the back of his car. Its facial expressions seem to change from day to day, and dogs have a vicious response to it. Children in the family were having nightmares, and Letta's head, arms, and legs would move on their own. Carrie tried to sell Letta, but when he attempted to take him out of the car to deliver it to the new owner, he felt strangely compelled to keep it. He decided not to sell and instead tried to learn more about it. This led him to a museum in Sydney, Australia. An expert told Carrie that the 2 nails in the bottom of Letta's feet dated the doll to about 200 years old. The expert also determined that Letta was from Eastern Europe. The Australian psychic conducted a seance and determined that the doll was made by a man who was grief-stricken because his son had drowned. The doll was to serve as a type of transference vessel for his dead son's spirit, and today, everyone who comes into contact with Letta, the gypsy doll, says that it seems alive. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoy it. Please rate, share, and subscribe. Blessed be.